On r/AskReddit, what's the scariest 100% true story you've heard of? Every open source report from IAEA is terrifying and well documented with pictures. One of the most horrifying is the Goanya incident in 1987. For those who don't know, an orphan source accident is when radioactive material that had been lost, usually from an abandoned hospital, is discovered by people unaware of the dangers who inadvertently expose themselves and others to lethal and/or permanently disfiguring dose of radiation. You read in horror as survivors describe people inviting their neighbors to see the oddity they found and share samples. Children playing with sparkly dust, all unaware that they just doomed themselves. Acute radiation exposure is a truly nightmarish way to die. Your flesh rots away over months while skin grafts are ineffective. You deteriorate in pain in the hospital until you die of infection or necrosis. On r/AskReddit, what's the scariest 100% true story you've heard of? Story 2. There was an incident in Trinidad where some maintenance drivers were removing a plug from an oil pipeline and were instantly sucked into it. One was able to escape, but the other four were trapped for days in a small oil-coated pipe with only a small air pocket to breathe in before they died. Thinking about it in detail and imagining what it must have been like for them makes me really uncomfortable. The really effed up part is that the guy who got out promised his friends that he would get help. Once he reached people, they deemed it too dangerous for anyone to go back in there and help, and they wouldn't let the other guy back in. So they were promised help but left for dead. Story 3. My uncle was in a bar one night and started talking to this random guy. He described him as a really nice guy. He met him a few other times in the same bar. They drank and talked and random stuff. Soon after, my uncle stopped seeing the guy at the bar. I don't know how long after, but my uncle got notified that he had jury duty. He showed up and found out what it was for. A serial killer. And the killer was his friend from the bar, Derek Todd Lee. My uncle was promptly dismissed from jury duty for obvious reasons. Never trust a man with 3 first names. That Jonathan Taylor Thompson guy is kind of suspicious, huh? In the 1990s, a nurse in New Jersey killed hundreds of hospital patients. Sometimes he would sneak into patients' rooms at night and inject them with fatal medication doses. Other times, he would put the medication in IV bags in the supply room, so they would kill whatever random patient they were given to. He was accused several times. Some patients pointed him out before they died. Some staff thought he was creepy and dangerous and refused to work with him. He kept getting fired from hospitals, but the hospital managers knew that if he got arrested, they would be sued by the families of the patients he murdered, so they just fired him and didn't call the police. This happened at 12 different hospitals over the course of 16 years. Investigators believed he killed as many as 400 people. After he was arrested, he confessed to 40 murders. In 29 of them, he had enough detail to be charged and plead guilty. He is linked to 300 plus more deaths than that, but details of those will probably never be known because so much information was lost over time or destroyed by the hospitals. The other night, my wife took our child out for several hours. In the time I wrapped up work, they left to get dinner around 4:30 p.m. Got home around 6:30, played with our dog and did a few chores. Then when my wife got home about 7:30, we relaxed a bit and I headed for bed about 9 p.m. Usually up early with our kid. Maybe 2 minutes after crawling into bed, I got a text from my wife with a picture of our dry erase menu board on our fridge. See, usually at the start of the week, my wife will fill out a rough menu for dinners that week. I remember seeing it early in the day and remembered it was filled out as expected. The pictures she sent me of the menu all scrambled up, like the letters were all moving everywhere, with random words and squiggles throughout. Some of it was her writing, but others were incomplete words or rewritten words in handwriting that wasn't hers or mine. This freaked us out, as our 1-year-old certainly didn't do this. The country sheriff showed up and swept the house and found nothing. Nothing was out of place or missing either. He was spooked by it a bit too. He said they never got a call out in the country where we are and recommended we change our locks. We hadn't, as the couple we bought our home from were elderly, so we did that night. When I was 17, I was hanging out with 2 friends and they wanted to go smoke weed in the woods. I didn't feel like it, so I drove them and waited in the car. After a while, I was getting bored and decided to go meet them, but there were 4 paths going off in different directions, so I just took the biggest one. After walking for a few minutes in the pitch black forest, before flashlights or phones by the way, I came across this dip in the trail, and on the other side is a bench, slightly visible due to the moonlight. On the bench is sitting a man, and another one is standing in front of him, but I can only make out silhouettes. silence. Being sure these are my friends, I yell out to them before walking over. If you ever walked in the woods at night, it's just as uneasy feeling all around. So I was cautious to begin with. Well, it turns out, just after yelling out to my friends, both silhouettes turn around towards me. Not a word, not a sound. The guy sitting down starts sprinting full fucking speed towards me in complete silence. I got the absolute fuck out of there, sprinting also in the other way and tripping over shit because I couldn't see anything. I finally get out and lock myself in the car, but I was really worried for my friends. Maybe a minute later, I see both of them coming out a completely different path. They also confirmed they never saw me or anyone else. My heart still sinks thinking about that dude sprinting in silence. What the fuck even was that? My college girlfriend called me one night. The Baton Rouge serial killer had been active a while and she was being followed all over town, and even after going in circles by a truck which the killer supposedly drove. She fit the victim profile. She was brunette, living in a wealthy neighborhood, a house sitting for her aunt. My roommate and I drove over and we filed in the line behind her and the truck. She lived essentially on the LSU grounds, so I assumed it was a stupid student prank or something. She parked at her aunt's house. Truck stops one house short of her aunt's house and we pull in behind her. I explain I'm going to go defuse the situation. Walk over to the truck. The FBI says the killer is a white guy. The man is African American. Explain no one is upset, but he's freaked out my girlfriend. He needs to leave. He looks side-eye at me and drives off. I see the guy again a few months later on the cover of the Baton Rouge papers. He's been arrested. He was the killer. Well, it's my story. When I was a little kid, maybe 5 or 6, we had this neighbor, like a grandma to me. I'd go over and have snacks, and she had a Mr. Potato Head I played with, which was her son's toy. He's now an adult. Weird core memory. He came home in his 20s from the army, I think. I don't remember much about him, but he asked about taking my older brother camping, but my mom said no. She had a weird feeling about him. Side note, we lived out in the country. Not even town, just a place. There was no locked doors. Everyone trusted each other. My mom saw him at our little store with bee stings all over and was concerned. He said he got them at the creek. She thought that was weird because that's just not a thing where we go all the time, but okay. A little while later, not sure how long, the news said there was a murder of some campers out past where we lived. No leads. People were shocked. This doesn't happen here. My mom remembered the weird feeling and the bee stings that didn't make any sense. She called the police to say, hey, probably nothing, but here's what I got. I remember detectives coming to our house to talk to her. They had some other evidence that matched, but not enough to link him to the murder. A couple with their child, by the way. It's unsolved to this day, though the detective said he knew it was him. A few years later, the guy went to prison for an abduction/attempted murder of a woman who had ran out of gas, and he offered her a ride. She lived, thank God. Alright guys, I hope you guys are sufficiently creeped out by now, and if you are, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like more from me, also like and subscribe, and let me know how long would you like these videos from now on, because I enjoy making them. So yeah, see you all in the next one. Peace, adios.